Hey, what's up guys? So in this video, we're going to be going over how to install a radar detector using a MirrorTap and plugging it into your rear view mirror for power. Now, in order for this to work, you're going to need a special cable like this called a MirrorTap. It's a short cable, and basically one end plugs into your radar detector, and then the other end plugs into the back of your rear view mirror. Obviously, you're going to need a powered rear view mirror, so one that is auto dimming, has an electronic compass, has HomeLink built in or OnStar, or something like that, to where power is actually running into the back of your rear view mirror. And the way it's going to work is this plugs into your radar detector. They make different connectors for different detectors or even dash cams and whatnot. And then the other end is just going to plug into the power cable in the back of your powered rear view mirror. Now, before we go into the actual installation, there's a number of different cables available like this. The two most popular ones that I found is one from RadarMount and one from BlendMount. They're pretty similar. Looking at the two, the only differences I can find really are the RadarMount one, the cable is a little bit thicker and larger, whereas the BlendMount one, the cable is a little bit thinner and more sleek, which I find pretty helpful, but at the end of the day, I don't think that makes too big of a difference. They also make them in different lengths, depending on how long you want, so you'll want to actually go in and kind of test it out and measure before you pick one up. And they also make them with different sized connectors that plug into the back of your rearview mirror, some a little bit larger and some a little bit smaller. This is kind of important because if you get one that's too big, it's not going to actually physically fit behind your rearview mirror. You're going to try to shove it in and it won't fit, and you might have to exchange it and get another one. It's for that reason that BlendMount came out with an updated version of their cable. It's called the MTX series MirrorTap, and it's basically the same idea, except you'll notice it doesn't actually have the connectors on the back. What they do instead is they ship a little baggie with a bunch of different removable connectors. So the idea is you can try out different ones to see which one fits. So let's say I want to use this one, right? I'll just take, the power cable and I'll plug it into the end, and then I'll take the ground cable and I'll plug that into plug that in as well, and boom, now I have my removable connectors, so I can actually figure out which one of these fits my rearview mirror and then just choose the one that works best, which I find really helpful. I don't know if a good way to figure out the right size. When you look online, you'll see different size tips like this available. I don't know of a good way to find the right size beforehand. Maybe you guys know, let me know in the comment area if there's like a good way of doing it. But I've seen some people maybe order the wrong size and then have to try and trim down the connectors to make them a little bit smaller. Another issue that I've found before is the ones that are a little bit bigger like this, they're more durable, which is nice. But if you get something that's a little bit smaller and has a thinner connector like that, it's more likely to fit in there. It may or may not hold really well depending on tolerances and whatnot, but the ones being a little bit smaller are more likely to snap by accident and break, and I actually had this issue, and it was a good reason to get one of these removable connectors, so if you accidentally break one during installation, it's easy to swap in a different one without having to get an all new cable, so that's really nice. Another thing that I found really helpful about this, and you'll see this once we actually go into the installation process, if you've got a multimeter, you're going to need one like this, a voltmeter or a multimeter. You're going to need to actually go in and probe behind your rearview mirror. I'll show you that in just a minute. And these probes sometimes may physically be too large to even get back there in the first place. So something that you could do is, if you're using these removable connectors, you can do the same thing if you have just like an extra wire or something laying around the house. You can actually stick this into the back of your rearview mirror, and then you've got this exposed cable sticking out, and you can just take your multimeter and tap that while this is plugged into the back of your rearview mirror, rather than trying to stick this in, and this may or may not fit depending on what model you have and what kind of power cable you have, So in practice, I've found this style, the MTX, with the removable connectors, to be the best ones. It's a little bit more expensive than the other ones, but I do find it more convenient. It helps with the installation process, and it helps figure out the right size and in case anything breaks. Down in the video description, I'm going to put links to all of the different styles of MirrorTaps that are available. That way you can, figure out which one you want. There's also one by Invisicord. For those of you guys who have a Valentine 1, if you're using Yavi 1 or V1 driver, you need the Bluetooth module, and with this, there's no way to also plug in a Bluetooth module, right? This plugs into the detector, this plugs into your rearview mirror. You don't have a way to add the Bluetooth module. Invisicord sells one that's kind of a dual-headed version. It's got two connectors. One plugs into the Bluetooth module, the other plugs into your detector. And then you just take the Bluetooth module and, tape it to the back of your rearview mirror or tuck it up into your headliner or something. So for those of you guys running a V1, that's an option as well. So again, down in the video description, I'm going to list out all the different types of cables so that you can choose which one works best for you. So with that said, now that you're familiar with the different cable options, let's go ahead and hop on over to the rear view mirror and install this guy using our multimeter, and I'm going to show you exactly how that works. All right, so we're back behind our rear view mirror now, and the first thing we're going to want to do is locate the power cable and then just find the connector and remove it. Now there's actually two ends to the power cable. This is the one here, of course, that plugs into the rear view mirror. This back side is most likely where we're going to want to access the and actually tap in with our power cables. They're going to slide in here, and you'll notice that it's most likely going to be really tight tolerances, which is why you may want a little bit smaller cable. But starting off to probe, because this is open, it might be a little bit easier to go in this way and measure stuff as opposed to the back. But once we actually get everything finished up, we're going to want to go in this way. Now, as far as this particular power cable, there's only 4 cables, which is nice. Your car may have more, may have less. The trick is we're just going to want to go in here and find both the power as well as the ground. The best way to do it is with the multimeter. That's what we're going to do. You can also try Googling or something. Maybe somebody's done this before and is giving you the information on what cable does what. That would be nice, but we're going to go ahead and use a multimeter to figure it out ourselves. Now, in order to get in here, it looks like with my multimeter, chances are it's not going to fit like this, as you can see. So I'm going to have to use a different cable. So let's start with this connector. Let's see if this one even fits in the first place. It looks like this one is too big to go in. That was kind of what I was mentioning before. This connector, this big silver one, is a little bit too big to go in. It can go into one where there's no cable, as you can see, but since we're going to want to tap into where the cable is, this one won't work. So let's see. Let's try maybe one that I think this is smaller. I'm not sure. We'll try this one. There we go. Looks like that one is starting to go in a little. I don't know if that's good enough. Doesn't look like it. So we'll try an even smaller connector like this. So we'll do this next one, and there we go. Looks like this one is starting to go in. So as you can see, these tolerances can be pretty tight in order to get in there, right? But this is what we're going to wind up doing. We're just going to want to make sure we've got a good connector to make it in. Anyway, so it looks like that one should do the job. We can try by probing in. So let's see, this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only the second one has no connector. So we could try accessing it like this. Nope, looks like that one doesn't work as well. We're going to have to go into the back. Okay, cool. So we're going to go in this way. So we're going to use one to go in like this, and then I'm going to pull out another one. Maybe I'll try flipping this backwards, and I'll go in, let's say maybe this is a ground. I don't know if it is or not. One thing you're going to want to look out for is when you're sticking stuff in like this, let's see, maybe for testing purposes, I'll put it in backwards. When you're doing this, make sure that these two connectors don't touch. If it does, it can actually short the circuit between these two things and could cause some issues, blow a fuse, or maybe cause some electrical damage if you don't have a fuse. You should have one down in your fuse box, which if these touch will help. But what we're going to want to look for is connect these up to our multimeter, and we're going to want our multimeter to read 0 volts when the car is off, and we're going to want it to read 12 or 13 volts when the car is on. That way when we turn our car on, this gets power. When we turn off our car, it loses power. Some of these may have power full time, so things like the HomeLink, for example, your garage door openers, will still work when your car is turned off. Open your garage door before you turn your car on. So some of these may be powered all the time. Some may be powered only when the car is on. So that's what we're going to want to go ahead and check for with the multimeter. So now what I'm going to do, and hopefully this shows up here on camera, I want to go ahead and measure the DC voltage, not AC, but we're going to do DC. I know I'm looking for about 12 to 13 volts, so setting it to 20 volts max should be a good number. Every voltmeter is a little bit different, so read your manual or whatever, but I'm going to go ahead and set it here, and then I'm going to start probing around with my probes like this, and I'm going to want to see when this actually registers 12 volts when they're touching, and then 0 volts when the car is off. So that's what we're going to do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go like this. Right now that's registering 0 volts, which is good. I'll turn my car on, and this is still registering 0 volts, so that's not what we want. Turn the car back off, and let's try maybe a different connector. 0 volts again, nothing. Now to speed up the process, I just looked it up on Google to figure out which pins are what, and it looks like in this car it's going to be this far pin on the right as well as this middle black cable. The middle black one is my ground, and then kind of this yellow and black is going to be my power cable. So I also found, kind of going around with the front, using the really small connectors on these guys, the back one, that was able to go in this way, and then I'm able to use these as probes. And so at that point, once I connect everything with my multimeter, I've got it all connected, and then what I'm finding is when the car is turned off, it's registering 0 volts, but then once I turn the car on, it goes up to maybe 11 volts if I'm running off just the battery, or closer to 13 or 14 if I'm running off the alternator, and that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. I want it to be, of course, powered when the car is on, and unpowered when the car is off. That way my detector turns on and off with the car. Now that I know which pins I need, the trick now is to go ahead and just, insert them in the back here and then connect up my MirrorTap that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Now I was playing around with it a little bit, and it looks like the bigger ones don't fit, so I'm gonna have to use the ones with these smaller tips, the smaller taps, the smaller connectors. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with our power. We're just gonna go ahead and insert this guy here, and there we go. It slides in there. Hopefully we've got a nice connection. We'll double check it here in just a minute. And then we'll do the same thing with our ground cable. So our ground is our middle one right here. Go ahead and slide that in. Oh, cool, that one goes in really well. Oh, that one is too loose, it looks like, so I'm gonna have to step up to something a little bit larger. See how this is gonna be really helpful to have different size connectors so we can really kind of test and see which one holds well. All right, so I'm gonna step up now to the next size up for power. Go ahead and slide that in. Hopefully that will still fit in there, and it's a little bit larger, so it should hold in place better. A little bit tough to get in there. One thing I want to avoid is pulling on it too much. I've actually snapped one of the connectors off when I was back here before, which is, I guess, another reason why it's nice to have these removable ones, so you can, use a different one as needed, just in case. Now I've got them in. I'm not sure if it's a good fit. It looks like it's in there pretty well. I don't want to pull on it too hard because it'll come out, but it looks like it is in there. Now my question is if it's gone in all the way, and the easiest way to do that is just to go ahead and plug in the cable and test it out with the radar detector and see if it actually works. I'm gonna go ahead and connect up my, my power like this, my ground like this. Got my detector, plug it in here. Let's go ahead and turn on the car. And there we go, detector fires right up, awesome. So it looks like we do have a good connection there. You can see the tips here are sticking out a little bit, so it looks like that is normal. But as long as it's in there, it's nice and solid. We've got a good electrical connection, and these things are not gonna shake out at any point. When we're driving, it looks like this should do the trick. So now at this point, it's just a matter of plugging this back in, getting our detector mounted here, and we should be set up and good to go. And there we go. There's our radar detector plugged into our rear view mirror for power now. Got a nice clean install. Looks really good. Pretty simple and straightforward installation process. And I think it looks really good too. So if you want to do it, there's our tutorial on how to actually walk through it. A good tip, actually, just hop on Google and chances are somebody else has done this with your car, and they'll give you some suggestions on which pins to tap into. I did that, and it definitely helped with the process, so you can do the same thing. If you need any of the equipment that we looked at here, as far as the cables, different connectors, mounts, whatever, links to all that different stuff and the different models and types will all be down in the video description for you as well. So anyway, there you go. There is a look on how to use a MirrorTap cable and power your radar detector or dash cam or anything else that's over in that area, GPS receiver, whatever else, off of a rear view mirror. If you have any questions, please let me know. Happy to help. Other than that, subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next video.